Hey everyone, hope you're having a great week, trying to stay cool out there in this ridiculously hot season. This week we jumped back into our series, A Shared Gospel, taking a look at, again, some of the friends and ministry partners of the Apostle Paul. And so this week we looked at a guy named John Mark. His story is found really in several places throughout the book of Acts, and so we jumped around a bit, just taking a look at some things that sort of mark his life. And so the big ideas this week were that John Mark developed a strong spiritual foundation. We saw that John Mark learned how to serve others. We saw that he practiced reconciliation at some point in his life with the Apostle Paul. We saw that he kept growing and maturing after a mistake or after a failure. And then we saw ultimately that he taught and he discipled others. And all of these things that kind of marked his life, they were all formed in him over time by the spiritual community that he had around him. I mentioned in the sermon that Mark, probably more so than anyone else we'll look at all summer, man, he just really positioned himself with some really solid community of believers, from some in his own family to guys like Peter and Paul, the Jerusalem church, Barnabas, and others. And so kind of the big idea was that if we want these things in our life, that community around us is so important to that. That community is going to help shape us, and that community is vital for our sanctification. And so some questions for you to discuss in your group, of course. What was most interesting or encouraging to you this week? What was most challenging or raised some further questions for you this week? Question number 3. So Mark made a mistake by deserting Barnabas and Paul on his first missionary journey. But he kept growing and he kept maturing, and that mistake or that failure, it wasn't the final word on his life. And so just take some time for those that want to and discuss a time when you learned or personally grew from a past mistake or a failure. What lessons did you learn? How did it help you grow and become a better person? Question number 4. So Mark's spiritual community shaped his life in every way. How has your spiritual community helped shape your life? In what ways have you been shaped by the community around you? Question number 5. So go back and read Acts 15, 36 to 41 again. Sometimes Christian friends sharply disagree. That was certainly the case with Barnabas and Paul. Have you ever had a sharp disagreement with a Christian friend? And if so, did you eventually find reconciliation with that person? How did that play out, and what lessons did you learn in the process? The action step this week was to join or commit to joining a small group or a Bible study if you are not already a part of one. Again, kind of the big emphasis being on spiritual community and how necessary that is. And then the only other thing I wanted to leave you with is just the one announcement not to forget the slight time change in our services on Sunday starting this next week. Services will be at 9 a.m., at 10:15, and then 11:30. Again, this is an effort to kind of balance out the attendance across all 3 of our morning services. And so just take note of that. I don't want anyone showing up crazy late to church on Sunday. Hope y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next week.